Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Break It Dawn. Let's check out this planet. I guess both planets. Palace of the Atlas. You know what? This is fine. Let our other characters get some practice, and let Argenta warm the bench for a bit. Literally, because she uses a flamer.
I always keep my options open.
So this is an aeldari planet. Oh, it's a crone world. That's odd. So crone worlds were the original homeworlds of the aeldari and their empire, but most of them, I thought all of them, were sucked into the Eye of Terror when it opened, during the birth of Slaanesh. They exist inside the Materium. So this is interesting. Decayed pages. House Orsellio need not know what is taking place here. The navigators are frightened enough by its power as it is. The last experiment left 3 from the Sethala clan without a shred of reason. Empty shells will bring no glory to House Orsellio or its lesser branch. We shall carry on. At last, we have managed to implant the artifact in subjects who can wield its power. Perhaps all the navigators who perished in the agonizing torrent of energy are merely a symptom of our decline. I am tired of counting the dead. The weak have no place among those who have harnessed the Atlas. Their abilities have grown manifold and become significantly easier to control, and more effective at resisting the ruinous influence of the warp. It is all or nothing. Today is the day when my work is completed, and the Starway Atlas takes its final form. The Sethalas have already undergone the operation. All that's left is me. The Atlas that controls them all. Today, I become the greatest novator in the history of the House Orsellio, where I turn to nothing. This power is beyond compare. All it took was a whim to make the wretched Sethalas fall dead at my feet. It is as if I have a second heart beating in my chest, subjugating any with the ability to touch it. How regrettable it is that this power only extends to those Orsellio navigators who have accepted a piece of the Atlas within themselves. From now on, all children will be gifted with one at their initiation, and there will be no one who can match our greatness.
Let us not dawdle.
The heart of the Navigator's camp. This is where Tisiphone Orsellio performed her experiments hundreds of years ago. Also important to note that crone worlds are the only source of spirit stones for the Eldar, and so they are essential for the Eldari survival. There's a barely noticeable imprint of a long clawed hand on the broken cogitator screen. The Eldari Sanctum is blemished by human presence. In their pursuit of ancient secrets, the navigators had no qualms about filling the ruins with machinery and supplies. So I'm curious what Elliot has to say if you bring her here. You can't be happy about it.
Centuries of service and practice.
The Orsellio navigators left no stone unturned in this Eldari temple. It is as if they were looking for something that they just could not find.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
A job for me.
Elite Marksman Gloves. Where it gains plus 15 ballistic skill. Jukari, though.
Was that supposed to be a challenge?
Keep your wits about you.
One day, I shall remind Revestum that he was ready to bury my family based on some trumped-up charges. One day. But not now.
The only difference between high society squabbles and squabbles down in the gutter is the fine clothes. If you want to quietly get rid of the scoundrel, you know who to call, old man.
That was a problem for you.
The ruined statues once depicted pages from the long history of the Aeldari.
Let us not dawdle.
I missed that. Immaterium Routing Amulet. Whenever the wearer uses a navigator power, they always psychically dodge the next attack by moving to a random adjacent cell. Alright, how does that compare? Air stuff isn't very good, is it?
Always keep your eye on the price. I'll learn from this mistake.
Only a 30% chance because we don't have,
Failure is just a temporary setback.
Argenta with us. Plasma Ring. Ring weapon that fires a single plasma shot. That's pretty cool. Can only be used once per combat. This attack deals from 30 to 45 damage and has 50% armor penetration. Not going to use it, though. Grenadier's Backpack. The wearer and their allies are immune to damage from the wearer's grenades. The first time the wearer uses a grenade during their turn, they have a 50% chance not to expend the grenade. Not gonna use that either. There's a few items that boost the effectiveness of grenades. I don't know if it's worth it. Grenades don't seem that good.
I always keep my options open.
And they also have finite uses in combat, because you can only slot 4 of them at a time.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
I don't know. It might be fun to play around with. Someone removed the data crypt from this dead machine to keep the House's secrets safe, and leave no information about the experiments that took place here.
I always have a backup plan.
Halt, cursed child. We have to ally ourselves with the Xenos once more to stop you. No matter. It is a small price to pay for the liberation of House Orsellio from the chains of tyranny. Yeah, get wrecked, nerds. Be gone, renegades. Follow the Atlas's call in your wake, child. Stand with us. House Orsellio will not trade Tisiphone's legacy for the false ideals of blind fools. What is happening? Ah! Thank goodness we didn't explode. It looks like everyone but the navigators exploded. Orsellio Renegade's representative. Darn Xenos. This was not the bargain we struck. Throne smite you. The navigator whose skin is so thin that it reveals the muscles, bones, and innards underneath clenches his augmented gold jaw in contempt. What is this? The rogue trader and the traitors to the house have lured the child into a trap set by Xenos. Wish my eyes were deceiving me. Now I can clearly see that great regent Aranto was right to send us after your vessel. The sturdily built woman is armed with a pistol, and yet there are signs of exhaustion in her posture. Her face is hidden behind a gem-encrusted, three-eyed mask, and her elaborate Navis Nobilite vestments are stained with dried blood and other evidence of recent combat. He addressed the Renegade's envoy. How did you get here before us? No one but Cassia knew the way. Rogue traders are not the only ones who know how to find allies. The Renegade scoffs and looks at the Aeldari standing beside him. Saying that, we should have rid ourselves of this alliance the moment we crossed the Webway Gate. You can trust no one, least of all the vile Xenos. You will stop defiling the remains of the hallowed ground of our ancestors with your semblance of speech, Mon Kai. The Harlequin's bright clothes glimmer faintly in the dim light of the system's star, and the sinister grin on his mask only adds to his menacing and aloof presence. The final act will soon unfold, where you will pay for the deeds of your ancestors. Stay put, and wait for the puppeteer to pull at your strings. You dare threaten me, Xenos? Cassia's ice-cold voice is completely unrecognizable. Cruel, ruthless, resentful. Why are there Xenos ruins where the Palace of the Atlas should be? Why is this place coated with an impenetrable black mist? Answer me. The Harlequin flinches reflexively, but then his body instantly eases back. Three-eyed Mon Kai sees into Shael. Shael? The taint of your ancestors has begun to consume your body and soul. Pathetic fools with an insatiable lust for power that is not yours. Ending your misery will be merciful. Taint. Do you mean the Atlas, Xenos traitor? Silence, traitor. The Atlas is a sacred relic of House Orsellio. It is what elevates us above the rest. How dare you? The Regent's envoy abruptly loses her breath with a groan, as she clutches her chest where her Atlas is implanted. I refuse to accept this. Impossible. So the Atlases they're implanted inside them, I'm guessing, are spirit stones? And so they're connected via their own impromptu infinity circuit. What is this place? Your primitive language has no words to convey the true nature of this place, but I will venture a try. Some call it a world beneath the first stars. Others know it as a crone world, or an unblighted world. It was our ancestors' home before we became prey to she who thirsts. What is this taint you speak of, Xenos? Do you not see it? The Harlequin's voice booms throughout the ruined temple. When you Mon Kai discovered this crone world, you tainted it with your crude technology, despoiled it of its relics, ruined all there was to the last stone. But worst of all, sullied the souls of our ancestors repose in their sacred vessel, the spirit monolith. He points his thin finger at the remarkable crystal floating behind his back, and the Harlequins around you tighten the grips on their weapons. Like a sea of bottomless blue. Cassia looks around her with a stunned expression, her gaze shifting from one Xenos to another. I did not know that living things could exude such saturated hues. I wish I could paint this ocean a different color. Examine the hovering crystal. This enormous translucent stone shares a strange resonance with this place. You can sense the energy emanating from it. Mysterious, restless, coagulated. It resembles a giant heart that has been plucked out of its owner's chest. Its crystal clarity is pierced by hundreds of dark veins that have taken root within like a terrible illness. How did the navigators of House Orsellio taint the spirit monolith? The experiments. Cassie covers her mouth in horror. This is where she conducted her experiments. Tisiphone. No, it is not possible. To consort with the Xenos is to violate the word of the God Emperor. It is known to all that Tisiphone Orsellio executed anyone who showed any interest in the enemies of humanity. Is that so? Then why is it that every piece of metal or fabric in this place bears our house's coat of arms? Open your eyes. All three of them. Quiet. The Harlequin's tone is mild, but it is not a request. I am unsurprised that the truth is hidden from your gazes. Griad Mon Kai who see into Shael. I realize at the moment I've met the first of you, wretched, begging us to help you destroy your own kin. I sense it within you, our ancestors' call, their pleas, their endless torment. I knew that what you found was a crone world, and I humbly waited for the day you would lead me to it. Address Cassia. What experiments did Tisiphone conduct here? Cassia closes her eyes and speaks as if in a trance. There was such power locked within this stone, such possibilities. It'd make our navigator's abilities several times stronger. No, it magnified them by a factor of dozens. But the price was too high. After mere hours of use, the stone would always burn the minds of its hosts. So it was decided to break the monolith into many shards, which were far easier for a human will to control. No, your ancestors went further than that. The Harlequin trembles with fury. They place the shards of the spirit monolith inside their bodies to empower their abilities. Is it not true that everyone in this world is after power? Cassie's face is exceedingly untroubled, and her gaze is distant and cold. The Rogue Trader makes every effort to strengthen the Von Valancius dynasty and trample the opposition. Then why shouldn't House Orsellio make use of a Xeno artifact for the sake of its blood and the Imperium itself? Yeah, this is appalling. House Orsellio's deeds cannot be forgiven. You're ill-qualified to judge the merits of my house, Donald Von Valancius. I can see your soul's colors all too well. There are plenty of darker shades within. The Renegade Navigator stares at Cassia in shock. You're more than just a tyrant's heir. You're a successor to a mad heretic, a betrayer of the faith. You must be destroyed. You and the Atlas, once and for all. You think the solution is so easy, don't you, Mon-Kai? When you die, your souls become captives inside the spirit monolith. This process is deranging it to our ancestors, who have served as the monolith's guardians for aeons. It is equally agonizing to the souls of your dead, and the more Mon-Kai's souls the monolith absorbs, the more volatile it becomes. The aeldari and the Mon-Kai have spent many a dance battling for supremacy within the monolith, and its integrity is waning. You sense it too. The only way to free our ancestors from the pain is to separate the Mon-Kai taint from the spirit monolith. My troop is here to perform just that. We all will play our parts today. When the final act of this age-long tragedy begins, Mon-Kai players will exit this world stage. Sinister shadows dance on the Harlequin's mask as he draws an unknown device from his sleeve. So I think there is a hierarchy to these decisions. We don't let the Xenos make decisions for citizens of the Imperium, let alone navigators. But then option 4. Yeah, address Cassia. Now, what do you say to the Xenos' assertions? Cassia freezes hesitantly, only for her frightened gaze to harden. I shan't explain myself to a Xenos. Do you wish to know what I think? The Atlas must be saved. We must continue using it for the good of humanity, not that of ghastly creatures such as these. Now then, whose side are you on, Rogue Trader? Yeah, I think option 2 makes sense because there are people here trying to stop it. The Atlas must certainly be destroyed, but surely the entire house cannot be expected to serve penance for Tisiphone's crimes. What? Perish the thought. The Starway Atlas is the foundation of House Orsellio's power. Whence do you suppose we draw the strength to fare the Sea of Souls? Is this not the greatest library of Navis Nobilite knowledge across the Cronus expanse and Calixtus sector? Should the Atlas be destroyed, House Orsellio will face oblivion. Nonsense. Tisiphone created the Atlas only a few centuries ago, whereas the history of House Orsellio dates back to the last millennium. We've always been a house to be reckoned with. When Tisiphone arrived in the Expanse, she set her sights on acquiring power that could let her family branch dominate the rest. And where has that left us? Our bodies are corrupted with Xeno heresy. God Emperor, forgive your children for committing a trespass so heinous. Yeah, so we side against the Xenos first, and then we decide what to do with the Atlas. We'll still ask this. Is there no way whatsoever to separate the Navigator's souls from those of the aeldari, without killing one or the other? The Xenos thinks for a moment. I do not believe there is. Three-eyed Monkai have desecrated this place. I'll not put the Spirit Monolith at risk, just to help them avoid the consequences of a lamentable performance. I won't let the Xenos have the Atlas. Then it is time for the closing scene, Monkai. Dance like never before. The Harlequin bows theatrically as he presses and holds a button on the strange device in his hands. Cassie clutches her breastplate and stifles a cry of pain. He decided not to make use of the charm that could inhibit Cassia Orsellio's power. How can you control my Atlas, Xenos? Yours, Kai Morag. The star of our play is even more brazen than I thought. The Harlequin chuckles and draws his weapon. Begin your last dance, three-eyed one.
Xenos scum! You don't belong in this galaxy.
I wear the mask of your death.
So you don't normally see Harlequins get angry. And if I were in my Rogue Trader shoes, I'd be terrified. Just to be clear.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Get me a target.
Only 5%. So I have Oblivion, that's from Cassia. Dodge and hit chance is reduced by 24. Choreographer of War. All Harlequins gain 30% dodge and always dodge the first attack per round. While the Troopmaster is alive. The Troopmaster does not gain this bonus. Alright, then you go after the Troopmaster instead. Feckle Hollowfield grants 50% dodge against all ranged attacks from a distance of 2 cells or farther. Whoever suffers damage, the Hollowfield fades until the end of round. Guaranteed dodge. This creature will inevitably dodge the next attack. So we need to move up here, take care of this guy. I have Oblivion, Staggered, Command. Final joke. When this creature is killed, all Harlequins lose their Hollowfields but receive an additional attack per round.
Let's see to it. For the throne's glory.
Step aside. The Navigator is coming.
See how the wolf succeeds! None can do more than thunder!
Not quite what I wanted.
His ruin is on the hunt.
Scars adorn our bodies.
But we'll make it work.
Am I getting paid for this? You've got a problem, I've got a price. Don't get too cocky.
Also, I already gave him an extra turn, so we need to give aeldari the turn instead. Got to keep track with 3 officers in the party.
At your beck and call. I took care of this one. It will be done. Cubs play. So shall it be. Die in disgrace.
Merely an interlude?
That's like a Dalek when he said merely an interlude.
See how I will carve runes out of your bones. None can do this better than a warrior of the old.
Just a jest.
So it shall. Wolves reign. Cubs play. By the wolf's eye, perish.
My soul for Kekarak.
I challenge you, damn get. None can do die in disgrace.
The curtain falls.
So shall it be.
I.
Put in a ton of work, and also forgot to activate Confident Approach. Not that he needed to. It's out of my gaze. Where's my Lilith stare?
If I may,
Scars adorn our bodies.
dare you?
Merely an interlude.
I can do that with the right incentive.
Just a jest.
Am I getting paid for this?
Alright, we have a lot of stuff we can do here. I'm not read through her abilities in so long.
Another foe painted black.
Smiles upon me.
There we go. A Lady Orsellio, rogue traitor. Praise be to the God Emperor. You have saved the Alice from the detestable Xenos. We must inform the great region of all this at once. No. Xenos' threat may have been eliminated, but the Alice is still the fruit of Tisiphone's heretical experiments. As long as it survives, House Orsellio will remain a prisoner to its own miserable state, and continue to suffer from its Novator's tyranny. Your bickering ends now. I can see the truth behind your every word. One's exclamations are woven from gold and silver, but one good look between the threads reveals her green venom and deep red thirst. The other is using the scarlet veil of hatred to conceal an ocean of purple, and amber powdered with ashes. I no longer wish to hear from either of you. Today, your Novator herself will decide the future of House Orsellio. What future do you see for your house, Cassia? Naturally, the Atlas must be preserved and used for the good of the Imperium. The Sithalic clan, Tisiphone, and many of my subjects have already paid for House Orsellio's power with their lives. It behooves me to prove that their sacrifices were not in vain. I came here to see the truth with my own eyes, and I've seen enough. Tisiphone was a monster, and you were worse than. Silence, Void Cur. You do not deserve to be called a navigator of House Orsellio, You permit yourself to address your novator with such insolence. The region's envoy offers Cassia a respectful nod. House Orsellio welcomes its mistress, Lady Cassia. Thanks to you, both the Atlas and our bloodline are saved. What happens next? Only the stars know. Cassia nods tiredly. We should return to the Cronus Expanse and inform the House of all that took place here. I see no reason to hide the truth any longer. It is high time we began learning from our mistakes. So, I want to destroy the Atlas, but I guess I made the wrong choices there. Just another statue of a forgotten aeldari. Or is it?
Let us not dawdle.
It could be a Phoenix Lord. Phoenix Lords are the head warrior of all the aspect shrines. And they're very impressive. My Time-worn manuscript. There was a time when I believed that I would lead my house to prosperity. In truth, fortune and blessings have long since been passing us by, as if the Cronus Expanse itself is trying to oust the Orsellio children from its bounds. If nothing changes in the near future, all of us will wither like night flowers at dawn, or perhaps face our ultimate fall. Upon my word, the Sea of Souls itself must favor me. During the last jump, I saw into the eye of a vicious storm. Within it, amid the ruins of a Xenos world, was a treasure, mighty and dangerous, not unlike our own power, and I found a way to reach it. I drive away the memory of our journey, and the cost that our house suffered. The ritual alone was no matter. The goal will be worth the price, and due effort is all that is needed of us. By the grace of the Emperor, we made it through that terrible tempest. However, the aeldari ruins appear to have dampened the crew's spirits. Those pitiful commoners talk too much. Tensions in the camp are rising. I should cut out the tongues of those who witnessed the first experiments. This information cannot be allowed to reach the ship. No, not just them. I shall have the Sithali clan dock the tongue of every lowborn. That's where it started. So, I know I left the choice up to Cassia. I thought I could ask her that and then help her make a decision afterwards, because I do think the Atlas needed to be destroyed. But what's done is done. Hot shot last pistol. Neuro disruptor. Do. Conversion field. Whenever the wearer suffers a critical hit for the first time in a round, all damage from this hit is prevented. After that, a blinded negative effect is inflicted on all characters in a 2-cell radius around the wearer until the end of the wearer's next turn. $30 to $46. Yeah, we'll use that instead of the shuriken pistol.
Keep your wits about you.
Staff of Orsellio Novator. Plus 20 willpower, plus 15 perception. Those aren't new. First use in combat of every navigator power costs minus 1 AP. The aeldari's gods once walked among them, teaching, guiding, protecting them from harm. There are no boundaries between mortal creatures and their patrons.
There.
This was a piece of an altar that the ancient aeldari used for some long-forgotten ritual.
I always keep my options open.
Dark shades whirl inside the monolith, and at the edge of your consciousness, you pick up their moans of despair. Power, pain, damnation, eternity. Souls are mourning their own fate.
Is there money to be made?
I stick that stone on the edge of the world wound and stop the demons from progressing. Alright, I guess we're done here. Next time we'll head back to the ship, we'll speak to Cassia. We need to speak to Argenta. We haven't spoken to her since she got back from her pilgrimage. And go from there. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.